As the dust settles from the Glasgow summit, there's a clear divide emerging in the federal government, with several backbenchers pushing for Australia to do more on climate change. A group of Liberal MPs has renewed calls for more ambitious goals, suggesting 2035 would be a more suitable date to target reducing emissions by up to 55%.
While the Glasgow Agreement includes a call for countries to revisit and strengthen their 2030 goals, senior ministers yesterday insisted Australia's target was fixed. And Resources Minister Keith Pitt has reportedly welcomed pressure from India and China that saw a last-minute change in the final agreement. A phase out of coal was changed to a phase down, a move that reduced the conference chair to tears. Let's get more from Jane Norman at Parliament House. Jane, good morning. So the federal government's refusal to budge on this 2030 target has opened up a fresh debate about targets.
Yeah, it sure has, and potentially sets up a climate clash at the next federal election, Michael. Australia was a signatory to this final agreement at the COP26 summit, which requested countries strengthen their medium-term commitments. But just hours after signing up, the Morrison government released a statement saying its target of cutting emissions by 26 to 28% by the year 2030 was fixed. Now, that's despite the fact that its own projections show Australia is actually on track to beat that target, to exceed it. And while the government relies on these projections, they mean little at these global gatherings. Summits like COP26 and next year's COP27, they want firm commitments. So Australia will only continue to face mounting pressure internationally to increase its ambition. But one of the reasons the coalition has been refusing to budge on its 2030 target, which was set by the former Prime Minister Tony Abbott, is that it took this target to the last election. And as you can remember, climate was a fairly contentious policy issue at the time. So to get around that, we're starting to see pressure building really from the Liberal side to adopt a higher target, but for 2035. Now, the reason we're talking about medium-term targets is because they're seen as crucial to countries reaching the long-term target of net zero emissions by 2050. But in terms of the moderate Liberals who are pushing for this, there's also some political imperative, because many of them are facing the prospect of a well-financed, well-run campaign from independents who are mounting challenges on the basis of climate policy. So there is certainly politics at play. On the other side of politics, Labor is also facing its own climate conundrum, because right now it doesn't have a medium-term target, and the government's decision to fix its target will only continue to put pressure on the Labor leader Anthony Albanese to declare what his party's policies are as we head towards the next election. Labor at the last election faced a massive coalition scare campaign on its climate policies, so it's kind of trying to play a balancing act right now between not exposing itself to a scare campaign while also trying to set a more ambitious target than the coalition. So an issue really that both parties are confronting at the moment.
As the election gets ever closer and closer. Jane Norman, thank you.